how he's programmed this body and start cooperating with it. And that sound like a reasonable way or a reasonable approach? I think it is. It's worked for me, but it's not easy. Because it's not like taking a pill, you know. We're so used to wanting to, let's take a little pill for this and a little pill for that. See, and we end up not removing the cause, but altering the symptoms through manipulation. And your body will never appreciate that in the long run. Because usually what we use to manipulate the body ends up being an obstruction to the body. All right? And that's something that the remedy sometimes is a lot worse than the problem itself. All right? Okay, so does everybody understand what an obstruction is and what it causes? Some of the problems. We could spend a lot of time getting more definitive of all the names to give to people, give to the problems that people have that are due to just obstructions. Okay, what are obstructions? What causes them? What is it that interferes with the circulation of the blood to any part of our body? Well, there's two basic substances that we call obstructions that really are kind of carriers of all the other obstructions in our body. And our body produces some of these itself because of its chemical reactions as it digests your foods, assimilates, breaks it down, and as your cells wear out and have to be replaced, there's certain things that the body has to eliminate as the body's going through these normal processes every day. All right? And two of these main, what we call elimination substances are salts and proteins. Protein substances. Salts and proteins are byproducts of what your body's eliminating as a part of its normal process. All right? And it's supposed to eliminate a certain amount. And when it's having to eliminate more than it should, that's when we begin to get into trouble. And so when I run an evaluation of a person's body chemistry, I'm measuring the sugars, total carbohydrates, not just glucose, the acid alkaline, salt level, and the urea level, which is a measure of your proteins, and then the albumin, which is a measure of the dead cells coming out of your body. Those are the things that I measure when I evaluate a person's body chemistry to see how well the body's dealing with these obstructions. All right? So salts is a natural byproduct of your acid and alkaline reactions that are taking place in your body. If you're too acid or too alkaline, you're going to produce too many salts. And as long as your body can get rid of the salts and keep them at a certain level, which according to our evaluation it's about 7 C, hundreds, that's the way we measure it, then you're not going to be interfering with the circulation of your blood. All right? As long as your salt level's coming out through your bladder, through your liver, kidneys, through your bladder, 6 or 7 C, then your body's handling the salts. As long as the ureas are 3/3 coming out through your body, through your kidneys, then your body is handling your protein. All right? And as long as those values stay in those ranges, there's a little fluctuation that you can have there, then that means that the obstructions are where they should be. And they're coming out at the right rate. They're being eliminated at the rate that they should be eliminated. And so they won't be interfering with the circulation of the blood going to your cells, which will end up causing weakness, sickness, and disease in those areas. Okay?
When you say that our bodies start getting in trouble, is it because they are breaking down, they can't handle the load? Are the symptoms of that at that point, or it's when the organ totally fails is when we see the symptoms?
Well, you'll see warnings. There'll be warnings of weakness first, and then usually sickness, and then if we don't listen and do something about it, then it's dis-ease takes place. Okay? So that's kind of the stages. So an obstruction, when it doesn't let that blood get to that particular area, then those cells will begin to get weak, then sick, and then dis-eased, and then they'll die before their time. And they have to be replaced more often than they should. Well, then they age too fast. So instead of getting 120 years, you get only 60 years out of your liver. Or instead of getting 120 years out of your eyes, you get 80 years out of your eyes, and then they quit on you. You see, so obstructions can cause that, and it takes years to go through that process. That don't happen overnight unless you get something that just overdo something. So where do we get these obstructions? Besides the body and what it produces, where do we get these obstructions of high proteins and high salts that get into our body, and then the body can't eliminate it? See, if your obstructions get too high for the blood to eliminate, to be eliminated out of the blood, then they have to be stored someplace. Well, how does it get these obstructions out? Before we go into what they are, or where else we get them, we know we get them from food and liquids, okay? We get them, that's where we get them besides what the body produces. We get these obstructions through what we put in our mouth, okay? Now we can get other obstructions that get into the body through what we breathe, metal toxins, pollution in the air, okay? But it's what we have that we get through our foods that grabs onto those and keeps them in our body.
One would constantly be changing their food eating habits then if the cells change as often as what we read, right?
What is that now?
Okay. The foods you take in produce all of these salts or acids and
Right.
et cetera, obstructions.
Right, yeah, proteins.
So you change your eating habits, shall we say, and then you can go a certain period of time because of the cells changing. Wouldn't you eventually have to change that eating habit that has proved successful?
No, that wouldn't have anything to do with that. Because what we're going to get out of our food is just the nutrition. I'll explain that a little bit as we go here, maybe make it clear. Okay, the way the body gets rid of these obstructions, 92% of the elimination of these obstructions take place through your kidneys. Your kidneys have the responsibility of filtering out your blood and holding back into the blood what the blood needs to keep it balanced. Because your blood has top priority on the breathing energy, on the rest energy, on the water, and on the nutrients that you put into your body. The blood gets first choice, and it has priority of what's coming in. Because, for example, your blood has to stay at a pH of 7, 7.1, somewhere around there. If it goes to 6.9, you're dead. If it goes to 7.5, you're dead. Just a little bit of a change in your pH, and you're in trouble. That's why when they give you a blood transfusion, they have to know your blood type. What is blood type? It's the pH of the blood. It's the acid or alkalinity of the blood. So you want to match up. They know that they must match up the acidity of your blood with the donor's blood, or you can have a tremendous change in what's going on in your body, mentally and emotionally. They know that from experience. All right? So So the responsibility for making sure that blood stays alkaline is your kidneys. And every 23 seconds, that blood's flowing through your kidneys. And as it's flowing through there, the kidneys are filtering out the bad guys, these obstructions, and they're holding back the good things that the blood needs in order to stay balanced. How would you like that job? And your kidneys are the size of a fist. Each one of them are the size of a fist. Think of that. Every 23 seconds, your blood's circulating through your kidneys. Let's say that's twice a minute. How many minutes in a day? How many days in a week? How many weeks in a month? How many times has your blood flowed through your kidneys to your age right now? Talk about a job. And you think of the sludge we're putting into that kidney, and you wonder why we're having problems. Because if that kidney filtration system clogs up, this is an epidemic today. That's why I'm going to spend some time on this subject, because you would be amazed at the number of people that are going on kidney machines. That's the worst thing. That could be your worst nightmare, to have to go on a kidney machine and live on a kidney machine. Just go there and look at the people that are on them. Spend the day there, and that'll give you some good incentive to take care of your kidneys. But 92% of the wastes or obstructions that are in your body, the way to get them out is through your kidneys. 6% of that's water-soluble obstructions. Take a sample of your urine, put it in a bottle, and leave it in the cupboard somewhere for a week, and you'll see everything separate out that's coming out through elimination. Just because it's liquid when it comes out doesn't mean that it doesn't have anything in there. See, that's what I'm testing when I test your body chemistry. I've got instruments that see through the liquid, so I don't have to wait to separate it all out and then measure it, okay? Aren't you glad it doesn't take that long? So I have to have instruments that can see all those things without having to put it through a squeezer and fill it out. Or I'd have to have a kidney here, and I could squeeze it in there and do what the kidney does. But
can I ask a question about that?
mm-hmm.
When you eat different foods, different days you're eating different foods, so that test would show different, wouldn't it?
No, because see, we're looking at what the kidneys are going to do with what we're doing. The kidneys have to keep it balanced no matter what we do, or we're in trouble.
Oh.
So we're looking at how is the body reacting to what we're doing. Is it keeping up with it, or is it not keeping up with it? We know what it should be if the body's keeping up with it. If it's not, then we need to make some adjustments.
So this test wouldn't show different from day to day, or what about week to week, or month to month, according to our diet? Wouldn't show anything different?
It's years. It's what you've been doing for years. Now, how much water you drink has somewhat to do with what it looks like, how thick it is, how high things are. But in ratio to one another, it's going to pick out what the whole lifestyle situation is as it relates to what you're eating and drinking and resting and all of that. We'll have to spend a seminar talking about just how to measure these things and why I use what I use as a way of measuring these things. But I got in my book, if you'll get my book, I have it, a little bit discussion in there. Okay, but kidneys is where 92% of the bad guys' obstructions come out. 6% of the cleaning, which brings us up to 98% of the cleaning that takes place in the body, takes place in the bowel system, in the colon system. And this is water, insoluble waste. Things that don't dissolve in water come out through your colon. After you chew your foods real good, 30 chews per bite, and you don't have to worry about overeating, because you'll get lockjaw first. So after you chew your foods, 30 chews every bite, and then it comes down and has to be digested, which could take up to 4 hours. Then it has to be assimilated and go back to the liver, which could take 10 hours. Then it goes back, then it's put back together and made to, so it fits your body chemistry, goes into the blood and then is delivered to the cells. So in about 18 to 22 hours to longer, it takes that long to process it. Then what's left over after the assimilation works its way through the colon. What's not soluble, what can't be assimilated, what can't get into the bloodstream and be used by the body, works its way out through the colon. That takes, on the average, it takes 18 to 22 hours to digest and assimilate and then get rid of the extra waste through the colon system. So, if you have 3 meals a day, you should have 3 bowel movements a day, if everything's going through like it should. So it's not normal to have 1 bowel movement a month, or 1 bowel movement every 7 days. Something like that. That's not normal for some people. Normal is 3 bowel movements for 3 meals a day. Average is 1 bowel movement per day. But people are mostly averagely sick, aren't they? See, we don't go by averages. We go by what's normal. We want a normal situation, not an average situation, right? Don't settle for averages. Don't be just a statistic that might fall into the average, you know, because then that means your body's average. Oh, do you want an average vitality? What's an average vitality? Without Snickers and cup of coffee and stuff like that. What would be the average vitality if people weren't running on stimulants? Be pretty low, wouldn't it? So we don't want average, we want normal. What's a normal bowel movement? You know? Now, if your kidneys are working like they should, you should be voiding about every 2 hours if you're getting enough water. And you should have a bowel movement about every meal. Most people don't take enough time out to do those things. If you delay a bowel movement, if you delay going when your body's saying, let's go, you can delay everything a whole day. That means you're leaving that meal in an extra day. The longer that waste stays in your body, in your colon, the more it ferments and gets moldy and gassy and things like that. Then we have to use halitosis or halitosis, is it? Spray the rooms. And of course we need a little under the arm too if the kidneys aren't working too good. Okay,
Before I started, you didn't mention coffee, did you?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah. Okay, so we got, so your third kidney is your skin, by the way. Okay, that's your third kidney. So that's one other way we can get rid of some obstructions, and that's in the 2%. See, 6% of our cleaning, of our obstructions come out through the colon, 92% comes out through the kidneys, and 1 comes out through the lungs, and another percentage comes out through the skin. Did you ever notice when you're sweating you don't void as much? Ever notice that? And you can go all day and not even urinate when you're sweating.
Well, what did you do, Bob?
Well, you can do both. I mean, you should do both. But what I'm saying is that usually when it's coming out one way, if you're not getting enough water, you won't have enough coming out, enough left over to come out the other way. See? What do you think's coming up when someone throws up?
I don't think I want to do this.
Belly,
Sorry.
What don't go down comes up. Now you know why you're about to die. You feel like dying, right? Right. So there are exceptions, is what I'm saying. There's exceptions to, you know, you could take some more out through this way than what's normal. Just like through the skin, that's what's normal, okay? So Now, my point here in explaining this aspect of how to get rid of these obstructions, because this is what we're going to have to work on. We're going to have to make sure our bowels are cleaning out good. We're going to have to make sure that our kidneys are flushing out good, or we're not going to be able to get rid of these obstructions no matter what we're doing. All right? We're going to have to make up our mind to help these elimination organs do their jobs better. Or you're not going to get your vitality back no matter how good you eat, how much breathing you do, how much water you drink. If you don't help these obstructions, these elimination organs do their jobs, then they're just going to keep adding, and you're just stirring things up, stirring them around, but you're not getting them out of the body. But these obstructions, when they can't get out because your bowel and your kidneys are not doing their job, then what's the alternative? What's left for the body to do? It can't let them stay in the blood. The kidneys can't say, well, let's just leave them in the blood and let them just circulate and let those salts and those ureas and those proteins just build up and up and up. Well, you're dead. They can't do that. So if the kidneys can't get them out of the body, then it has to dump them someplace. It's going to have to store them someplace, right? That's better than keeping them in the blood. So that's what it does. And of course, you can only store so much in your colon, right? And it begins to start being absorbed through your colon into the bloodstream from the inside of your body. Okay? Just think about food just sitting out or sitting in the refrigerator for about 3 years, you know, or even a month or two. Or just think about putting a lot of food after it's aged in the refrigerator and smelling pretty good, put it in your garbage pail and just keep it around in the garbage pail for about a week or two. Now, take your imagination a step further. Open that up and tie that to your back and carry it around with you for a while. Now, do you think your body's going to like that? And you wonder why we got to use right guard, left guard, and everything we can get. You see what I'm getting at? When we allow that waste to stay in our colon for weeks and days without it cleaning regular, then it's stuffing in there. It's being packed in there and into pockets. It's staying. I've had some people, as they've gone through cleansing with their body and so on, I've had them, they haven't eaten popcorn for 20 years because of colitis problems. By the way, if you want to have colitis, that's a good way to get it.
Eating popcorn?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And after they started cleaning, they started getting some popcorn coming out. And they haven't been eating it. Peanuts coming out. People have eaten peanuts for years. Start having peanuts come out. That's been stored in those pockets for years. Now this is average.
Are you saying we shouldn't
Okay.
eat peanuts and popcorn?
No, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying that this is what's in there. Some people have found corn. Of course, most people can have corn come out the same way it went in. I don't know if you know of anybody that way. But we can get a lot of it packed in. You'd be surprised, some thin people, most people have from 5 to 40 pounds of waste in their colon. Stuffed in there. That colon can stretch. Okay? And don't be fooled by someone that's just flat here. Someone that's flat here can have 20 pounds and they're as thin as a rail. But it's hard, rubbery stuff. I mean, it's just hard. But it's not, you know, We won't have to get pictorial here. But anyways, this colon can be a source of a lot of obstructions just reabsorbing back into the system. Just like going into a moldy basement or something like that. The colon can be a real source of obstructions that cause a real change in the breathing environment inside the body, like we were talking about last time. Yes?
Did I understand you to say that we have stuff in our colon that could be there more than 10 years?
Oh, more than 40 years, 50 years. Sure can.
And this, if the colon's not cleaned out good, can it cause sinus trouble,
Oh, yes.
allergies?
Sure, it's obstructions. See,
Is it-
what
is-
doesn't come out through the colon as it's doing its thing, it's going to come up this way. And of course, that's going to irritate your sinuses and your eyes and cause congestion in your bronchial tube. And we get symptoms of colds and flus because of that. When the colon's not cleaning good, viruses like to help us out.
How does it get from the colon up to your sinus?
Well, how does it get from your refrigerator when you open that door into your sinuses?
Well, see, it goes
You're smelling,
down.
aren't you?
It goes down to the.
But aren't
to
you
the
smelling
colon.
it? Well, what do you think this is coming down here? This is a straight pipe from here to there. And when you stretch all of this out, it's 12 times the length of your body. Now think of that a minute. 12 times the length of your body. If you're a 5-footer, 5 times 12 is what? 60 foot. Now don't you have a lot of room to store stuff? See, that
I was told
colon,
it gets up to the sinus, causes trouble through the blood. The blood picks up
well sure, the
impurities.
blood's going to pick that up too.
The
Sure
blood
it
takes
is.
it up there.
Well, sure, that's what we're talking about. Obstructions is anything that interferes with the circulation of blood. All this is going to get into the blood, but it also comes up here through your breathing directly. But it's going to get in the blood too. I mean, that colon's right there, sitting right there. What if you had an old hamburger? I'm trying to get graphic here. I'm glad you all ate. You should have. Supposed to eat before 6. But you just took an old hamburger that's been sitting around for about 2 or 3 days, and you just take that in your hand. You're just going to carry it around all day. Do you think that's going to get into your blood? Why do you take baths anyways? To keep your skin clean, right? What happens if you don't take a bath once in a while? Why do they say you should do that? Because your skin's going to look terrible? No, because it's going to pollute your blood. It's going to get in. You breathe through your skin. Things come in through your skin, you see? And what we don't realize is that it can come into your blood from the colon and through your stomach, just like it can come in through the skin out here too, okay? Only it can stay in there longer. Why don't we just digest our foods in our hands? See, the whole reason for this long tube through the center of your body is to allow the solids and the liquids to go through the system slowly enough with some added help